So no singing along. Tonight you'll hear about my strange employment, dressing in costumes for 2 years. How I wore a wig each day, and I never got sick pay, and I fucked my back forever from some wings. Hi guys, thanks for coming. So I used to work at Disneyland, and people ask me all the time what it was like. And while I'm happy to tell you, I'm much happier to do it in costumes on stage. Some of the things I'll say are so top secret, so just be cool, don't rat me out. The last thing we want to do is force Mickey Mouse to sue. I really signed a lot of shit that makes this bad. I'll show you how we did Fantasmic. I'll spill about the pervy dads. And here's some shit on Disney princes. They did some coke when they went out for parades. So, what did I do at Disneyland? Well, I was 3 princesses, 2 queens, and 1 magical entity. So that's Belle, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, the evil queen from Snow White, the White Witch from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, and my favorite, the Blue Fairy from Pinocchio. Oh, and then this like Santa slut thing. This is self-indulgent, and I mostly wanted to wear costumes on a stage, and to sing Alan Menken in a place more public than my shower, my car, or therapist. Sometimes I worry that I peaked at Disney. I pray to God that won't be true. But apparently, it's the one thing about me that anybody ever wants to know about. I'm on a TV show. No, they say just let us know about Disney. Here goes. Here's all the shit you'd like to know. Once upon a time, I was very young and very, very depressed. Like, really depressed. I had waited my entire childhood to run off to LA and be a serious actress. And the time had finally come, and I did it, and I gave up. I was too sad to leave the house. I couldn't do anything. All I was doing was sitting around really helping Netflix out in their first fiscal year, and crying and being sad. And I eventually reached the point where I tried to, it's a nice Disney way of putting it, I tried to poison apple myself. So my mom said, that's enough, you're coming home. So she could, try to help, but also keep an eye on my prescription apples. So I moved back to Northern California where I'd grown up, sad and bored and defeated. Then one day when I was out in the grocery store gathering sad ice cream, some lady stopped me and said, excuse me, did I meet you as the princess at Disneyland? I was like, lady, we're 400 miles away from Disneyland, first of all, and second, thank you. What, this old thing? Me, a princess? Also, is that a job? And then I realized, duh, it's a job. It's not real princesses at the park. They're employees, or one might say, actresses. I was an actress, so I could be a princess. And if grocery store lady believed in me, then so did I. So I ran home. Figure of speech, I running. I ran home and I told my mom, Mommy, I'm going to be a princess. And she was happy to see light behind my eyes for the first time in a very long time. And a little concerned because I just declared I wanted to be a cartoon character. So she decided she would come with me to Southern California to the audition. And that way, if I didn't get hired, she could keep an eye on me and we could just go to the park and pretend we were on vacation and like it was no thing that ever happened. There was just nothing going on. So we came all the way down and I woke up bright and early, before the sun even came up, really, and got in line with hundreds of girls, everyone with their hair and makeup done perfectly. Some people even wore like full princess costumes, which is insane. Only a crazy person would do that. And I got past the first round, and they had me put on the Sleeping Beauty wig, which is just long and blonde and took so much getting used to for me. But they brought me back in the room with the casting directors and they whispered behind a clipboard. And then someone came around behind me and pinned the wig up so that it was like a little shoulder length bob. And I was like, okay. And then one of them said, can you go ahead and hold a wand for us, just like this? I said, sure can. And they said, now please wave like you're up very high and pretend to blow kisses to all the people down below you. And my heart fell out of my butt because I knew exactly what they were looking at me for. They were looking at me to be the Blue Fairy in the electrical parade. Why do I know this? This is a very obscure thing. But when I was little, I was obsessed with the electrical parade. And the Blue Fairy is a pretty obscure character. On people's lists of top 10 Disney characters, she's like who is that? So I get it, it's weird, but she's the front of the electrical parade. And now, when I used to go to Disneyland as a kid, my dad would take me. And I know that sounds like a nice thing to do, but my dad's a very angry, miserable person who hates fun and crowds and noise and pretty much anything that's genuine. So I don't know why he was there, but I would beg to please watch the electrical parade, and he would say, no, it's annoying. So we would walk by from a distance, and whatever I could see from the back was what I got. And what I could see was the Blue Fairy float, because she's 20 feet up in the air and right out at the front, and I swear she used to wave at me. So to say that I got my hopes up when I realized what they were looking at me for would be an understatement. I lost my freaking mind. Even though 15 hours earlier it had never occurred to me this was a job, this was the only thing I wanted in the entire world. And I was cut. I was sent on my way. I didn't get it. I went in the park with my mom. We went on It's a Small World, and I cried, and we watched the fireworks, and there was electrical parade music and the fireworks, so I cried twice as much. We went on Space Mountain, and I had streaming tears coming off my face, hitting people behind me, which getting my mom on Space Mountain actually did really cheer me up, because all she does is scream fuck the whole time. It's like roller coasters, and that is a delight to watch, let me just say. But my dream was crushed. My plan to fix my life was broken, and I went home and I cried for 24 hours, and then I realized there was another audition the next week and I could just try again. So I did. I got back in my car and I drove all the way back to Southern California, this time by myself. So the night before the audition, I slept on a friend's floor, and I was so nervous and I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking about how much I wanted to work at Disneyland, and I had so much anxiety, and there was glass smashing outside and car alarms going off, and I was hearing someone's car being stolen. I did nothing. I was thinking about Disneyland, but I couldn't sleep. And then out the window, I saw one little star twinkling down at me. The Blue Fairy is the wishing star. Shizu Geppetto wishes to make Pinocchio a real boy, okay? So I took it as a sign, and I went to the window, and I closed my eyes, and I wished. This isn't a dramatization or anything. This is a thing I did for real. I wished on a star, and I said, please, 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 let them remember me from last week, and please Let them make me the blue fairy. I can't be this sad anymore. And if I can't be happy in the happiest place on earth, I can't be happy anywhere. So I got up the next day and got in line with all the girls with their hair and makeup done perfectly. And walked into the room, and they recognized me. And they asked me to please come out into the hallway. And someone asked, did somebody tell you to come back this week? No! No one told me to come back this week. You told me to leave last week, but this week was all on me. I was trying to be proactive. Well, they said, okay, well, good thing you did, because we just wanted to try you in the blue fairy wig and didn't have one available last week. Yeah, good thing I came back. God damn it, what if I hadn't? I would have just been dead in Northern California. I'm sorry, you didn't have a wig available? It cost like $200 to come to the park for every single person every day, and there wasn't like a third wig. Jesus! Also, thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you. So I tried on the wig, and it fit perfectly. Kind of like some other fairy tale. Fit perfectly. And I came back in the room, and I held my wand, and I waved, and I blew kisses. And at the end of the day, I got hired to be the blue fairy at Disneyland. I wished on a star, and my actual wish came true. That's also how I got my cat when I was 5. I'm very good at wishing on stars. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'd like to show you footage of the first time I was in the electrical parade. My mom filmed this. It's kind of shaky because it's before fancy phones, but here it is. Yay! So, just to recap, this is like an action, like a wish coming true, not a dream. This wasn't my dream. This is a wish that I made, becoming real. And now I don't want to be the person that like believes in magic. But what am I supposed to do with this information? And it turns out all of the waving was choreographed. It was armography. And when you're blowing a nice classy kiss, you have to kiss on this side and then cup it and carry it and love it. And then you can push it away. It was so much fun. And super cheesy, I always waved to like sad-looking girls in the far back, just in case their dads were being jerks. There it is. That was it. That was easily one of the best days of my entire life. I was shaking all over the entire time from adrenaline and from the bodice is kind of old, so like I was being lightly electrocuted by all the lights inside. Oh, it was amazing. I loved it. Now, I wasn't always a big, giant electrical parade blue fairy. See, look, I'm so high up, but I didn't usually get to do that. Most days, I was in Parade of Dreams as a regular-sized blue fairy. I'm aware there are some Parade of Dreams alumni in the audience. Hello! So normally I was just walking around blue fairy, and people warned me that when I actually had to dance on the pavement, it was going to hurt. And I was like, I've been practicing in my empty studio apartment for weeks, waiting for my put-in day. I think I'll be fine. So I went out and I did the parade, and it was amazing. And then as I'm walking back, afterwards, somebody said, "Hey, new girl." I said, "Yes." They said, "You're spilling blood everywhere." And I looked down, and sure enough, my shoes were full of blood because my heels on my feet had just rubbed off. But I had a second parade to do. So we put on Band-Aids and sent me back out. Oh, I loved it. Now, most of the time, I figured out the shoe thing. It wasn't a big deal after the first day, but I did have problems with my wings because they were attached with this like backpack thingy that strapped around my stomach, and then the wings would like fork into my back. But I was essentially a kite. And so I would get caught caught by little light breezes and sometimes be blown into train tracks, or other times my wings would get caught on the magic coming off the back of the float. But most of the time, I would just be lightly given the Heimlich maneuver and throw up my lunch in my mouth during a Disneyland parade, and then swallow it and keep going. I loved it so much. I was so pretty. Oh man, I was in heaven. I was making dreams come true and playing dress up and getting paid. I made $7.25 an hour. I know, right? I would have done it for free. Minimum wage was like such a bonus. Oh, so every day after work, I'd rip off my fake eyelashes and take some of the real ones with them, and put a pair of bloomers that didn't have broken elastic in my locker, and put my communal tights back into the bin and hope to get good ones the next day. Oh, and I'd head home to my empty little apartment on an inflatable mattress and fall asleep dreaming of my wonderful new job. Pardon me. It was amazing. I loved it. And not only did I love being actually in the costumes and doing the job, but I loved the fact that I was backstage at Disneyland, because I'm a Disneyland fan. And it was insane to have access to all this information. Like, I still remember the first time I saw Cinderella take off her blonde wig and have long brown hair underneath. I lost my shit. I knew I was in a wig. I was aware of it. I understood the concept. But it was still like, what, Cinderella? No! It was amazing. You could even say it was da 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 da. A whole new world! Yeah, McCartney, get it? Magic carpet. I worked in land, not world. The secret tunnels are only in Florida. They were built because Walt hated seeing cowboys walk through Tomorrowland. Mickey's usually a girl. Hearts is usually a gay guy. In 2006, the pardoned turkey came and got its own parade. And in case it died, George W. Bush sent a backup turkey. Turkeys have heart attacks very easily. And I guess that he was worried that the world premiere for Pirates of the Caribbean, Orlando Bloom had to pee and didn't want to wait, so he peed in the rivers of America, which is recycled water that's been sprayed in my face. Seriously, if you wanted to pee on me, just ask. Normally I'd say hell no, but come on, it's Orlando Bloom. And this one's fun. Did you all see Exit Through the Gift Shop? Well, I was at work that day when Banksy pulled that shit and they put us on a lockdown for the day. I've seen drunks, I've seen brawls in front of Make-A-Wish children. Keep that in mind when you fuck around in the park. You might be ruining a dying child's last wish. Every day is high alert for terrorist attack. All true stories. We get it, Banksy. You don't like Disneyland. Why don't you and my dad just go complain about it? Anyway, good news. Both turkeys lived. They got to spend the rest of their lives as the happiest turkeys on Earth, living at Disneyland. But, unfortunately, unlike a turkey, I could not stay forever. Because if you remember at the beginning of this whole story, my actual dream was to be an actress, not to be a princess. This was a weird distraction that I stumbled upon. A great distraction, an amazing distraction, but a distraction nonetheless. So, I gave myself 1 year. I could have 1 year of playing dress up and dancing around and singing, but turns out there was no singing. Disneyland doesn't really own the rights to Disney songs, so you can't sing. You can mouth along, but you can't sing. Very sad to learn that. But I could still dress up and dance. And then I needed to quit and get back to my real life. And just as I was hitting my 1 year, I got approved to play Belle. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved being the Blue Fairy. But Belle, in a hoop skirt with over-the-elbow opera-length gloves, and everyone knows who she is, and nobody says, "Move, Barbie, I'm trying to see Tinkerbell." Like, people know who she is. She's a princess. That taps into some really deep-down childhood shit. You're a princess? How could I say no to that? Plus, once you're one princess, it's pretty easy to be other princesses. Because, see, casting's all kind of based on your face shape, and, well, Belle's face is, I don't know, kind of shaped like Cinderella's face. Cinderella's face is kind of shaped like Sleeping Beauty's face. And her face is kind of shaped like my favorite princess of all time, the Little Mermaid. Yeah. So if I could maybe be a mermaid, I could stay just a little longer. All the interchangeable white girls were going to be mine. So I'd stay longer. Because you see, I've always really wanted to be the Little Mermaid. Like enough to spend my whole Christmas vacation this year making a tail. But the problem is, you see, Ariel is a little mermaid, and I'm quite tall. I am not little. And you know, you can kind of fudge your height with a lot of the characters. Like, I'll be honest, I was measured everywhere from 5'7" up to 5'11", depending on what part I was trying to get. Partially because of human error, but mostly because I would wear very loose-fitting pants and squat my knees or go up on my toes a little, depending on what I was trying to get. But there's only so far that can go. And like Belle, she's next to a beast, so it's easy to fudge, but Ariel's my fave. I've always been sure that other than red hair, I look just like her. See? I look exactly like her. But I've never been described as little in my entire life. When I was 4, I was kicked out of a kiddie pool for being an adult. I'm not little. And even if, I think they should measure your height from when you're sitting because that's what matters, and my height's in my legs. They don't. That's not how it works. So, no Little Mermaid for me. Honestly, though, I might not have enjoyed it as much as I think I would have enjoyed it because Ariel has to sit around in a shell bra all day and talk to dads. Curvy dads. Poor Ariel and Jasmine have it the worst. I have a picture that I am not supposed to have. I'm not Jasmine. Don't worry, Disney's not that racist. I just put it on, but I'm Jasmine. Take it away. Don't tell people I have that. But see, pervy dads are like an actual problem at Disneyland, and I got harassed sometimes, even as the Blue Fairy. I would have guys yell, "Oh, you can make me a real boy," and I'm like, thank you so much for knowing what movie I'm from, but also, what a pervert to know how to harass me in canon. But my biggest problem was, remember the Santa sled from before? This was where I had the most issues. Because see, I did this in the Christmas parade. It's Christmas at Disneyland, not shy about that. It's definitely Christmas time, but so in the Christmas parade, I had that little outfit on, and one day a dad got caught presumably because he's filming his family vacation, following me with his video camera aimed up my skirt. So he has to go home then and be like, let's see what we did at Disneyland, kids, and it's my ass. That's what he did at Disneyland. Same outfit, different day. I'm coming down the parade route and I saw a dad like whispering to his teenage son. And as I got right in front of them, they took out $1 and threw it on the street in front of me and just like waited. As if I'm just gonna be like, oh, $1, and like present myself like a fucking cat or something. I mean, I was being paid $7.25 an hour, so I took that $1. Fuck you for assuming I was. It's insane how much guests just like check their brains when they come to Disneyland. Like, I could almost forgive some of the behavior, almost, when it's like, okay, maybe you've somehow forgotten that like poor Eeyore can move and you think it's a stuffed animal or something. Like, maybe you're that dumb. I can almost see it. But you can be having a conversation with a character and people just don't get it at all. And the thing is, Disneyland values above all else maintaining the magic, which means don't break character. So if some jagweed decides to like pick Sleeping Beauty up and carry her around the park, she has to stay in character and ask 3 times, please put me down, please put me down, please put me down, before she's allowed to break and say, hey, put me down, and like hope he obeys. It's insane how hard it is to be polite all the time. Which is why I loved being villains. You get to be mean to people and they think they're having fun. I was the Queen from Snow White and the White Witch from Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, Chronicles of Narnia. And as long as you don't say die or kill, you can pretty much threaten people however you want. It's amazing. Plus, weird tip, but tip nonetheless, if you're looking to abduct children, all it takes is a costume that's sparkly. No matter how scary what you're saying is, they will still want to come with you. Do with that what you will. I also learned that pyrotechnics are a really amazing form of stress relief. Because see, when I was the evil queen, I wasn't talking to people and signing autographs. I was in a show called Fantasmic. I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's Fantasmic, because it's spelled with an exclamation point. So Fantasmic is a nighttime show with every character you can imagine. There's explosions and princesses and dragons and everything. And there's this huge part of it where it turns from Mickey's happy dream into Mickey's nightmare. That's where the evil queen comes in. Now, if you remember in Snow White, the evil queen transforms herself into the old hag that gives Snow White the poison apple, and it's magic, right? Well, Disneyland makes that happen on stage in the show. And it's like a pretty big secret. Some people watch the show for years and aren't really sure how it happens. When they told me how it works, they locked me in a rehearsal room in the middle of the night and someone stood guard. It's a weirdly big secret. And you guys came all the way to my show. So I feel like I have to give you something juicy, right? Yeah. So I am going to show you how that transformation happens. I'm going to play footage of me doing the actual show. So this is like real Shalyah performing. But I'm also going to do it alongside, partially because I'm going to pretend it's for you guys to see what's happening, but mostly because this is my favorite party trick. And if you guys give me half a glass of wine, I'll gladly do it in any of your living rooms. You're all about to be completely creeped out, and I'm going to have so much fun. Let's do it. two people just like, hey, how's it going? That's it. That's the secret that I was locked in a room to hear. Oh boy. So by day I was princesses and fairies, and at night I was queens and fairies. And then I realized I'd been there for 2 years, which was twice as long as I had originally promised myself. So I started getting ready to quit. And then I found out about Tokyo Disneyland. Now don't get me wrong, I love Disneyland. I love it. But Tokyo Disneyland, they really pull out all the stops over there. Plus, you get paid to work while you're in a rent-free apartment. So people would like come back and buy cars. And better than everything else, once you're there, they really have to make you multitask, so you play tons of characters. So I wanted Tokyo. That was my new plan to get out of Disneyland, was to just go to a different park. That was my new plan. So I got ready for the audition. But the problem is, the way to get ready for a Tokyo audition, rumor has it, was to just be as skinny as possible. I had heard that the reason behind it is that like they worry that girls will go into culture shock and just gorge themselves on McDonald's and get chubby and not fit in the costumes anymore. And whether it was true or not, they certainly did start small. And I already had height working against me. So I decided no more eating. But I was still doing parades every day, and the Fantasmic routine you just saw, but in a 50-pound dress. So I was still working really hard, and I was going to the gym before work every day and not eating anything. And I got skinnier, but I also got weaker. And I passed out one day as Belle. I couldn't keep it together, and I got pulled aside and told that I needed to get a doctor's note to explain what was wrong with me and say that it was okay for me to come back to work. Now, this was a part-time job, so I was being paid very little. I had no health insurance, no paid days off, and I was now being told that to keep my job, I needed to go to the emergency room, because it's like, what am I going to do, wait a week and lose all that money from not working? No, I had to go then. So I did. I took time off, unpaid, and dropped, what, $1,500 on an emergency room visit to be told that maybe I should have an indoor job. I was like, anorexic, thank you, though. You missed the clues, buddy. I got my note and I went back to work, and I auditioned for Tokyo, and I got to the audition, and they whispered a little bit to each other, and they asked me to please come with them, and I thought, yes, this is how I got my job the first time. And they said, how tall are you? And I said, 5'7", 10, 11, 5'9". I'm 5'9". And they said, ooh, too tall, bye-bye. And that was it. No Tokyo. And I was starving and broke. And for the first time ever, I hated Disneyland a little bit. And that was what made me finally quit. Because I was happy to bleed and starve and go broke for that place. I didn't care. I would have done anything because I loved it. But I wasn't gonna let Disneyland ruin Disneyland. Mm-hmm. A dream is a lie your brain tells. When your life is bad. In dreams, I need help. Trick, can you help me think of your feelings? Just zip me and I don't care if it hurts, and maybe you won't be so sad. You can push, it's fine, don't be a pussy! Get out of here, you're useless! And sometimes something silly might go right for you. I really cannot guarantee it, but I'd like to believe it, because a dream that I wished come true. And I can't sleep through the night because I've got back injuries and a repetitive curtsing injury. And I never got health insurance, and you know, I didn't really leave with anything other than good memories. But I can still go to Disneyland and have a great time, and so I think I came out of it okay. But don't feel bad or anything for me, you guys, because I got to be a fucking princess.